Hi, this is Lorraine, and I'm doing another video. If you'll give me a second to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Okay, I think I will just start with the first thing that came to mind after I finished the last video. And then go from there. So this came in on the 25th, and it was an extension of something I said in the last video. And it says, we must balance the karma of Mother Earth. The worlds that we have conquered at the will of the Cabal because of agreements they made with the Alpha Draco, we must move back into balance. We must free them from the bonds we have put them into. We must be accountable and right our wrongs. We do this to create karmic balance and live by example. So, going actually all the way back, probably to somewhere in the first few videos that I did, I commented or referenced different people I heard talking about the secret space program. And the deals that were made to acquire this technology that would allow them to dominate this planet. When in truth what was happening is this negative energy was dominating the planet through these different beings. So through the Alpha Draco, this negative energy was dominating over our, what would be earthly Cabal energy, which dominated over humanity and Mother Earth. And so you see this ripple effect of negativity, right? And so they're all tools of the negative. So anyway, through manipulation, these Cabal, this negative energy on this world who coveted power and control, made a deal with these negative entities, energies from another world. And with that agreement came contracts where our soldiers, through the secret space program, would go out into the universe and dominate other worlds for this Alpha Draco energy to control and manipulate. Just like they control and manipulate our planet, they're controlling and manipulating other planets, okay, other worlds. And we did that, and as a collective, this planet is responsible karmically for that. Not just the Cabal, humanity as a whole is responsible for those actions. And even though these people worked, if they had a choice, they probably wouldn't have done it, or if they felt they had a choice, they probably wouldn't have done it. But this karmic debt is not solely theirs to repay. We as a whole, community, collective, are responsible for balancing that karmic energy. We also, as individuals, have individual karmic debt that's been acquired through these actions. And so we are responsible for balancing that karmic debt. But I'm going to add a caveat to that, because I know many profound light workers choose to walk into this darkness, and choose to face these darknesses and give them a choice to choose to continue to commit to the darkness, or to choose balance. And it's not, sometimes they have to become part of it and enter into it, okay, to provide opportunities for change. And so I'm not going to say there are different rules, because the universal laws are what they are, okay? But what I will say is that often when I look back, I shouldn't say when I look back, when I'm given information about different people, because I don't channel that information. It just comes to me. And it's just information that I need to walk my path and purpose. And I honor the messages, and I use them as a tool to create balance on this world. But it's not something I seek out. It's something that's just given to me. And it's a gift. Sometimes I feel like it's a curse, just because it's so overwhelming, the information, and what I have to do with the information. But really, it's not a curse. It's just overwhelming. It's just heart-wrenching sometimes, and energetically burdensome. So I have to figure out how I'm going to work through what the information is and the energy connected to that information, so I can use it from a place of balance. Because often that energy and that information creates frustration, anger, resentment in me of what this negativity is doing and what they have done. And so I will get information about some of these very profound light workers who walk into the darkness, and sometimes have to engage the darkness and become part of the darkness to give that darkness a choice to create balance or move deeper into darkness. And so what I feel intuitively is that there's some type of agreement contractually, energetically, with the universe, with this divine source energy, that there are certain things that they must do because they are asked to walk into this darkness, to make sure that they have balanced energy. And so I don't have a lot of information on that for each individual, but I will say that I know there is something that creates balance for these individual souls, energies. And I only want to add that caveat because I don't want people to be fearful of maybe some of the things that have happened in their lives, or the choices that they've made that maybe weigh heavily on them, make them feel like they're less than or horrible people, because often, especially with the very powerful light workers and the ones that are still steeped in their trauma, that haven't found perspective for what they've been through or why they've been through it, there has been a natural course that has happened in your lives that has allowed you to do what you needed to do in your lifetime, that helped move Mother Earth into balance, that would naturally, with the flow of energy, bring you back to a place of balance. And I can look back at my life and see how that worked, how the negative things that I did and the positive things that I did created karmic imbalances and maybe some friction, but then eventually moved me back to this space that I was meant to be in. So I just wanted to add that, because I can understand how there could be anxiety for some people to hear that information. But we as a planet and as a people and as a collective are going to have to move Mother Earth back into balance, not just by releasing the karmic balance on this world and the damage that we've done to Mother Earth and all the energies on this planet, including the animals and insects and plants, the soil, each other. Like, we have to, this tribulation, that's part of our commitment to what we did to this world, okay, as a whole, all of us. That's why we're all living through some of these weather phenomenon, earthquakes, volcanoes. These things are to create, but also to move us through tribulation. There is some negative things that are happening to the world and to people across the planet, but that is our karmic debt being played out, okay? But we will also be asked to go out into the universe in the future to balance our karma, to help free the worlds that we've put into bondage, okay? We put them into bondage. When we signed that contract, or when whoever signed that contract with this negative energy and sent our men out and women out into the universe to dominate and oppress other worlds, we have that weighs on our karmic debt, okay? We are responsible for that negative energy that we've put out as a whole. And we must balance it. And so in the last video, I talked about how our soldiers, how our men went into the military to try to potentially to have a better life, because they're offered, like the GI Bill, they're offered to be trained in certain areas so that they can take that out into the world to utilize and help them have a better life and make more money so they can take care of their families. And then through that they went into combat and maybe did some things that they feel guilty about or create fear, anxiety, and trauma within them. And then we have military soldiers that were drafted in World War I, World War II, Korea. You know, they were all drafted. They didn't have a choice. They had to go and do probably some pretty horrific and horrifying things, and that they had to engage in and then live through and bring home memories, bring home with them. And so we were treated more like property, right? Our soldiers were treated like property. We own you, you have to do this. If you don't do this, you're violating your contract, and then you could end up in the brig, military jail, whatever, right? And in that last video, I said that from here forward, after post-transcendence, when we go out into the universe to create balance and to inspire from the heart center, and we're driving from that place, should there ever be a circumstance where we are asked to wield a weapon, that each person must know that it is part of their path and purpose to do so. And so they must connect through the heart center to the higher self, and through that to the divine, and make sure that that connection first is clear, but then also make sure that through intuitive guidance and wisdom and knowledge, that is what is being asked of you, that you are being asked to wield a weapon in defense of or in protection of whatever that is, people, worlds, knowledge, wisdom, whatever is needing to be protected in that moment. You must be sure that that's what's being asked of you, because that protects you karmically, okay? And then you must drive from the heart. You must drive from balance, okay? And so as we move out, as we grow, as we move through transcendence, and first we start influencing the universe energetically from a balanced place on this world, eventually we are going to be going out into the universe, and we will be meeting for the first time from this place of balance other worlds. We will have ambassadors or something like that, whatever. But this will be much more from a universal perspective, from a universal galactic organization perspective, whatever their infrastructure is and how that is executed. We'll be moving forward from that place. So there's a learning curve, a learning process that has to take place before we can go out into the universe to understand proper protocols, but it will be from this place of balance. I'm sure there's people that are saying, we've already done that. No, we haven't. We have not done that from this place of balance because we are not there yet. And so first energetically and then physically, and then as we move out, it will be our obligation to go out and free those worlds, okay, the ones that we've placed in bondage. And there will most likely be circumstances where our soldiers will need to wield weapons, but this will have to be a choice based on their own divine guidance. People in the future, people won't be enlisting and then becoming property. They won't be enlisting to the military and becoming property. We all have a path and purpose. And as we grow, how we grow up in this world right now is not conducive to divine source energy and universal law. We are indoctrinated into a certain infrastructure that supports this negative energy and whatever it's trying to do. In the universe as a whole, we are born from a place of balance. We are on this world born from balance. That's why they have to start indoctrinating us at a very young age. That's why they now have mothers at work. So from almost birth, children go into daycare, right? You have strangers raising your kid. So your kids are being indoctrinated from weeks old into what this negative energy wants to, how they want to mold that person into whatever they want it to be in the future as they become adults. So universally, from source, divine source energy, from that place of balance, we are all born pure divine energies in physical form from a place of balance. Okay, and across the universe, from worlds that live in balance, those children are raised to empower those natural intuitive abilities. Okay, when we encourage our children to connect to divine source energy and to grow from that place of wisdom, from universal wisdom, they are empowered in a way that is unfathomable. They are taught by source energy how they are meant to manifest in this world. Okay, and that education that we are given, math, science, history, reading, whatever, language, that much of that is given intuitively through that connection to the source. But from a very young age, we are taught that we're separate, right? And we are removed from that connection. From this place forward, we will maintain that connection. Our children, once we get through tribulation, our children will be encouraged to maintain the connection to that source energy, and that will be their greatest teacher. We are here to love, support, inspire our children from this plane of existence. And that spiritual connection, that divine source energy is present to do the same thing. To teach, to love, to support, to inspire from a spiritual place, okay? And after we move through transcendence, we will solidify those connections, mind, body, and spirit, and what that means for us as a people on this world. We'll never, 200 years ago, 200 years from now, maybe less, those generations of kids, they're going to look at what we went through and they're not even going to be able to believe it. They're not going to be able to believe that we were raised this way, that this was done to us. They're going to be living from a completely different space. And that, I guess that kind of segues into something else. So I was talking a little bit ago about sometimes the information that comes in makes me very angry and frustrated, and I feel resentment and bitterness. All those negative emotions start coming in. And there have been many times in the past where I have just said, just clear it. Just clear the planet. Let it go. Let it go. I mean, just let it be reborn. Cover it with, lava and water and whatever, and let Mother Earth heal, and then we'll just start again. And because I'm so over all this negativity, I'm so over this oppression, it's so painful for me to feel that what that darkness has done to so many people. It's just, and it's still doing. And now it's trying to morph into something else out of this stereotypical like cabal energy into something else, and soften its edges and make it seem like it's so supportive. And it hurts me to see that. I feel physical pain in my body, and I get very angry. And I'll recycle that idea of just clearing the planet, and I just take a few breaths, and because I know the answer is no, and it's not that I'm willing to go however this world takes me out. However this world takes me, I'm willing to go. I'm not afraid of death. I know it's a doorway to another life, and it takes me home. But the answer I always get is no, that's not how this is going this time. And so when I get that answer, which I know I'm going to get, it's like this routine we go through. Like, who's on first, right? It's just this routine I go through. The thing that carries me through, the thing that recommits me every time to path and purpose, is our children. And I have several coworkers that we had 3 newborn babies in like the last 3 months. And I actually got to hold one of them, which made me so happy, because nobody wants you to hold their kids now because of, right? They're so afraid. Maybe might have to bleep that out, huh? I don't know. Maybe I won't worry about it, but every single time, I always go to the babies. I always go to children. I always go to their sincerity and that love that they have. I mean, they are just the most beautiful things in this world are babies, whether they're puppies, whether they're fawns, whether they're, whatever, any type of babies. They're just so amazing. They're new and they're fresh, and they represent possibilities. And that's what I go to every single time I think of the children. Children have every ounce of possibility and hope and beauty that we need to transcend to a most beautiful world. They are the future. And so every single doubt that I have, or feeling of negativity that I have is always quelled when I go think of our children, when I think of children in general, when I think of their beauty and what they offer and what they will provide this world. And if I'm completely honest, I think about all these adults who look so lost and seem so lost and are so shut off. I think about them being children and what happened to them being tragic and feeling sadness that they're unable to find their way back to center. That's also very difficult for me. But in the end, it's our children right now that are on this world and they're living through this. That's what fuels my fight. That's what fuels my heart. That's what fuels my motivation. That's what fuels my drive on this path. So there wasn't too much information that came in this week, unlike the last couple weeks or the last few weeks, but I kept asking why am I not getting a lot of information? Why was the last few weeks so bombarded, and this week really pretty much just that one message I just read? And so I sat with that for a while, but what came in was pretty much that it's started. Not something I really want to say, but just with the hurricane that came through, that was pretty devastating. I feel like there is some sense of that this negative energy has some sense of control over what's happening. That they still feel like they have a chance to, let's just say, win. There is no winning or losing. This is just a transition that's happening. Mother Earth is transitioning into balance. If your vibration does not match that of Mother Earth's, you will not be incarnating on this world. Okay? But that the hurricane just told me that the more severe events will start happening, have started happening. There was so okay, give me a second, sorry. So I just needed to make sure I was supposed to say some of this stuff, because I don't want to create fear, but I am supposed to convey the messages. So there's the hurricane on the East Coast last week, and so what I got as far as messages is that the next will be West Coast. Something's going to happen on the West Coast. And then I said before, Texas was where the healing will begin. And then just as I was clearing my energy again to make sure that this was something I was meant to speak about, there is a big heart in Texas. And so I heard, what is it? Was it a commercial or a song that said "Deep in the Heart of Texas"? And then there's clapping, and I can't remember. I think it was a commercial back in like maybe the 1980s or something like that. But I saw the big heart in the state of Texas, and it said, in that song, deep in the heart of Texas, and then the clapping, and it just kind of made me smile. But that's why also Texas is being bombarded, is because it is that source of healing that's where the source of healing will begin. So it's really important for this negative energy to bombard it with negativity to try to douse that healing, right? To douse that power that it's being given to heal, to be the root, the center of healing on the planet, the start, the catalyst. And so I had a very strong vision about someone I was watching on one of the video platforms and channel platforms, whatever you want to call it. And I saw her wrapped in gold and just heavily protected. And so as I was doing that clearing to make sure that I was supposed to be saying this stuff, I saw myself being wrapped in gold. And then I'm in this position. I did a video a long time ago where I was flying through the void, and I just had my arms out and I was covered with a white headdress, a huge, beautiful, stunning white headdress that went all the way down to the back of my heels. And then it had a red band around it that held all the feathers together and went all along. And then I had my arms out and I knew I had feathers, white feathers going along my arms. So it was a complete 100% white headdress with white feathers and a red band that held the feathers together, and then my arms had feathers going out. But I couldn't see myself. So it was basically my energetic body, I guess you could say. And so that's what I saw when I was being wrapped in gold. It's like I'm kind of floating through the void in that field and being wrapped in gold for protection. And then so I'm going to say this because when I was clearing my energy about talking about what was happening on either coast, I was guided to say it. But what came to me in a vision, in a I guess clairaudience, was I am the eye of the storm. And what that told me was that the eye of the storm is where the calm is, right? And so wherever I find myself, there will be calm. And so as I say that, I just want to reiterate that, let everybody know that everybody has access to this divine source energy, to the higher self, and through that higher self to that divine source energy, and through that to the collective consciousness, and we can exact change through that connection. Okay? Not just me. I'm not alone in my ability to connect, but it requires an incredible amount of discipline and commitment to path and purpose. And so what that tells me is I know whatever happens on this planet, whatever volcanoes, earthquakes, weather phenomenon, whatever happens, whatever occurs, these events to clear this negativity off this planet, wherever I am, I'll have calm. I'll be safe. And so as you connect to that divine source energy and you work towards that connection, you also can receive messages of assurance to let you know you're safe. But you have to commit to your spirituality, to yourself, to your path and purpose fully. Okay? I did receive other messages regarding the changes to the planet itself, as far as geography, but what I was told is that's not solidified yet, because as the collective, as the energy of the planet shifts, how that will manifest will change. Okay? So, since I said that, I got this card. I just pulled this one card. I was just kind of, it's called The Offering. I'm not going to read it about it, but I pulled it, and that's when I started getting information about the changes in the planet, the hurricane on the East Coast that just happened, Ian, and just some stuff's going to happen on the West Coast, and then how the planet, the geography is going to change, and I'm, so I'm asking, so what will my role be? Well, I have to move through these events. And the message that came back to me was, no, because of your offering. And that offering was, and this is, again, these are part of my affirmations. And I do I have a lot of affirmations that I write, that I say. I have released and let go of all that is needed to enable me to fulfill my soul purpose and help bring this world into balance with everything else from a place of love and light. And so I agreed to release all things, and so that I am enabled to fulfill my soul purpose. And like I said in, I think it was the last video or the video before that, that I didn't know what that meant. I could imagine what that would mean, but I couldn't really fathom what that would mean. And but yet I had to say it, because I had to fully commit to my path and purpose, so that this negative energy couldn't use anything against me to manipulate me, whatever that meant. Okay, whatever it meant to release all things, I would have to do that. I agreed to do that. So I'll just read a couple more of these, just so you kind of have an idea. I projected love and light energy as I engaged the world, which assisted me in addressing and or adjusting to upcoming changes, thus guiding me to new opportunities and experiences on my path and purpose. I lived by example, demonstrated the gift of love and light, what that means, what that affords us, humanity, and the universe. I efficiently and effectively discern between light and dark energies as I walk my path. I know, see, understand, perceive the past as experience, view the future as possibility, sit in the present with the ability to manifest these possibilities at will. I consciously separated myself from the high emotions that surrounded me and maintained personal balance and individual solidarity, the self, maintained perspective, and empowered myself toward my soul purpose. I maintained the balance needed to reconcile the worlds within this world, unify the cultures that comprised and created the diversity of Mother Earth. I have fulfilled my obligation to this world. I am a unifying force, creating a unifying field. So these are some of my affirmations, and I have right now, I think, 124 that I say 3 or 4 times a week. I used to say them every day with my, I'd express my gratitudes and then also release my worries. But these are part of my disciplines help me fulfill my path and purpose, is to affirm the things that I wish to bring into my life, that I have brought into my life, and now that I have completed or fulfilled. I speak in that tone, setting the intention to fulfill all those obligations. And so when I pulled this card and I was asking about what will I have to endure through these changes to the planet, physical changes, which will manifest through volcanoes, weather phenomenon, earthquakes, and so on. I was told that I'm the eye of the storm, that's the calmest place, is the center of the eye of the storm. And because of my offering through my affirmations to release all things, to fully commit to my path and purpose, all the things I read to you, well, that's only 4 out of 124, all those things I'm affirming to bring into my life, onto this world, to create the change that's needed to balance Mother Earth. Because of that offering that I made, that is why I am provided with the privilege of this protection, okay, of being in the eye of the storm. And that is also includes my loved ones, my children, and very close friends of mine, close people in my heart, because we are now aligning with our, people say their soul family, their soul group. Our vibrations are aligning, and we are, like is attracting like. So people who are moving towards my same vibration or are at my same vibration carry that same privilege of protection, of being in the eye of the storm, the calm. And I am not in a position to say who that is, so people need to connect through the heart center to the higher self, and through that to the divine, and pose those questions and ask for help or guidance or whatever is needed to help you provide that protective field through this transition. Because that hurricane last week was an indication of more to come. Okay, that just says this is the first, and there will be more coming. This is tribulation. Okay. And this is not meant to scare people or instill fear. It's meant to encourage those who have committed to their beliefs, to their sovereignty as individual energies within the universe, part of this divine source energy, honoring your path and purpose, honoring yourself, mind, body, and spirit, and your connection to the divine. This is our gift. Our gift is transcendence. Our gift is Mother Earth. The meek shall inherit the earth. The meek are inheriting the earth. This is our gift for our commitment to path and purpose, to the divine, to the heart center, to goodness and kindness. Okay? And I've talked about the men in the special forces. I talked about the men that represent the Knights of Templar, and people might say and judge and say they've done bad things, but I think that the sacrifice that they've made through their path and purpose has enabled us to come to this place. And it will enable us in the future to be successful in through tribulation, and then in helping us transcend. So not everybody who's transcending are, these spiritual gurus, these people living from this place of balance, of through isolation. I think many people who would be considered spiritual gurus live separate from this reality. There are many very spiritual people who live every day in this life and face the challenges of this life and still maintain balance. And I would say that those people who are able to live every day in this life, those are the people who are the most powerful light workers, because through the darkness that they live every day when they walk out their door, they are still able to maintain clear, centered, balanced energy and live by example. And I think if you know any of these, if you've ever met any of these men who have lived through and survived their time in the military, and the special forces, I think you will see people who live from a very high moral place. Mostly, like I said, there's light and dark and everything, okay? But I think when I see them, they have very high moral character and values, and they're very hard workers. And they live, their integrity is worth it. Just living with the integrity that they live by, or that they express in their daily lives, is a great model for people. So you can judge what they may or may not have done in the past or in the military, but what they've lived through and survived, and what wisdom they carry from that, has so much more value to this world than you could even possibly imagine. And that's the messages that come to me, and that's why I'm constantly bringing them up. I bring them up often. And that's why now the Knights of Templar have come up, because they're the old archetype, and spiritual warriors from the past who are the foundation for this spiritual warrior that will be created post transcendence. So we have the knights, the special forces men are the building blocks, and then they will be the inspiration and the foundation for the next level of spiritual warrior as we move out into the universe and are forced to I don't want to say we are forced to, as we are obligated to free these worlds that we have put in bondage through our contracts with the Alpha Draco, through the Cabal's contracts with the Alpha Draco. Okay? And these men will do this by choice, because they will know it is part of their path and purpose. And when I started talking about in the past about the children, and how they will not be indoctrinated anymore like they are now, and they're born from balance and will work towards maintaining that balance through their lives and maintaining that connection to the divine source, so that they know what their path and purpose is. And children, as they grow and become grown-ups or adults, they will know that their obligation to this world and the divine involves them going out as soldiers to free these worlds that we have put in bondage, humanity has put in bondage. Okay, they will do it because they know it's their path and purpose, not because they enlisted in the military and became property. Okay, not because somebody signed a contract and forced humans to go do this, and now this negative energy thinks that they own us and they send our men out there to do it without a choice. These people will know and choose this path because they know this is part of their purpose, and they will go out and help right the wrongs of humanity. Okay. And all of us will have greater access to our path and purpose, and we will fully walk those paths and purposes and fulfill our obligation to Mother Earth, to the animals, to the society that we live in, to each other as a whole, and then to our greater commitments to our greater families of the planets in our solar system, then the galaxy and the universe, and so on. Okay, we'll start to learn how to project that loving energy from the heart, from balance, out, not only on our world, but to the universe at large. Okay? And so there was something I wanted to talk about, and then I couldn't tell. I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? And so as I'm clearing my energy at the end, they're like, okay, now just bring it up really quickly. So when I was editing, actually when I was watching the video, because I watched my videos to see if I have messages for me, that for my next video, or yeah, mostly just to see if I have messages. And what I noticed when I was watching my last video on after I uploaded it, was that at 34 minutes and 17 seconds, there's a snap in it. I was like, what's that snap? Because I don't snap. I don't talk and snap. But I could hear it when I have my headphones on and I'm listening to the video. I heard a snap. And I got a little bit upset because that somehow was added into the sound. And because it's a trigger. It's meant to be a trigger. So some of these guys in the secret space program, when they compartmentalize all those memories, they'll have subliminal messages or triggers put in, also to help to manipulate and control them. And that snap was meant to be a trigger. And so what I've done is I'm constantly clearing the video, I'm clearing the space, and I'm clearing the energy of anybody who's watching that video who could possibly be triggered. And it's just part of my discipline. It's just like everything else. I'll just set up when I'm clearing my energy. There's certain things I do, and I do it like 3 or 4 times a day, and to include, to clear. And so it doesn't have to be clear anybody who might be triggered by this video. It just has to be me clearing my person, my space, the surrounding areas, the people, infusing with love and light energy. And I could just add something to the effect of clear the space of anybody who might be negatively triggered in any way. No, I wouldn't even say that. I would say clear any viewers of negative energy or attachments as they enter into my space on all levels. Meaning in my personal space, if they're watching one of my videos, if they're reading one of my blogs, something like that. Clear them of any negative energy or attachments that might be utilizing me as a vehicle to project their negativity onto others. Okay, because this negative energy doesn't have to invade my personal space to kind of latch on. Okay, so I'm constantly clearing negative energy and attachments. Okay, but I'm not doing it every second of every day, every minute of every day. So I just set that intention, and then I start setting the intention to maintain that through the day, and then work towards maintaining clear, centered, and balanced energy. Because the second I have a negative thought, and I always use my ex-husband as an example, but he did some not very nice things to me, and he did some not very nice things to my kids and to my dad, which upset me. So the second I go into that place where I think about that, and I think about how upset I am and how horrible it was, and I get upset with him, I put little tears in my energy field, which allow that negative energy to come in and start to manipulate. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I have such a very strong discipline in maintaining clear, centered, and balanced energy, and constantly clearing my energy 3 or 4 times a day. And it's very quick. It's not, I don't sit here for 30 minutes to do it, but it's just something I do. So when I heard that snap, it really upset me, because it looks like my hand movements that I was doing in that moment on the video looks like I could have been snapping my fingers, but I don't snap my fingers. I can't even tell you the last time I snapped my fingers. It's just not something I do. Okay. The other thing is at 18 minutes and 21 seconds on my last video, and I'll put that last video in the description just in case anybody's interested. I kind of like to do that stuff and check it. But at 18 minutes and 21 seconds, there was a dog barking in the background, so that was, I had my window open so you could hear it very clearly. And then at 22 minutes and 6 seconds, a crow started cawing. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, it made me happy. I was listening to the video and I was like, oh, that's a dog barking. That's interesting. And the next 22 minutes I hear a crow cawing. And the instant message that came to me was loyal messenger, because dogs represent loyalty and crows, birds, are messengers. So I was like, oh, that's a subliminal message from that divine source energy coming through to convey that message to people who are tapped in that way. But so I'm telling you that for two reasons. One is I was very happy and it made me feel warm. It was like a message for me to let me know that they consider me to be a loyal messenger, or the divine source considers me to be a loyal messenger. But also to let you know how we're always receiving messages from the divine, constantly. I'm constantly receiving messages from the divine. As soon as you start understanding the symbology behind certain things, like animal totems, spirit totems, like insects can be totems, birds, animals, trees, and you can start translating those messages whenever they come in. Dream symbolism. When you have dreams, if you go online and search dream symbolism for, I don't know, I used to have dreams about being in a bathroom all the time, a yellow bathroom. And I'm like, why? I mean, every day. So I would like look it up. This is in 2016 when I first started having my spiritual awakening. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting so irritated. Why am I constantly dreaming about being in a bathroom? So I would look up the spiritual meaning of a bathroom, a yellow bathroom. I walked into a stall one time and there was no toilet in the bathroom. So I'm like, what does that mean? So believe it or not, if you search the internet, you'll find symbolism, dream symbolism for all these things. So anyway, that's why there's two reasons why I wanted to share that message. And those are the two reasons I just gave you. Give me just another second real quick. And so I'm just going to end, but I will say that when I was clearing my energy that last time, I felt like all this information just start coming into my stomach. I could feel it, and they're like, yeah, but this isn't for today. This is for another day. But boy, that just started coming in really strong into my body. I could feel all this information coming in. So I'm curious what next week's video is going to be like. So anyway, thank you.